TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, not any higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time for the closing bell, Tuesday, July 30th, just 45 minutes from the MLB deadline. So it'll be kind of neat today. I was going to say Brady. Brady's tomorrow at 5 p.m. tea time wages. Myself and Riley will be discussing tonight's games, go over what happened last night, but we're going to keep an eye on John Heyman and the Bowtie Express there and everyone else dropping quote-unquote Woj bombs, hoping for a couple last-minute big deals. There's some big fish still there. Padres loading up the back end. And I'm going to tell you, if you look at the MLB playoffs, let's just say the last handful of games, and you're scratching your head because you don't see Pedro Martinez, you don't see Kurt Schilling, you don't see Roger Clemens. My point is the big name guys up there. It's starters eating up innings, get us 3, 4, or 5. Let's get to the middle of the bullpen so then we can get to the bridgies and then the closers. And so it's an arms race. That's what it is. And that's what these teams are seeing how to succeed. Just get to the dance. That's all you got to do is get to the dance. Ask the Rangers, ask the D-backs, then anything can happen. A couple years ago, the Nationals, the Phillies. It can happen, guys. So for me, we're sitting and hoping, and I said this now for a week, 10 days, Riley knows this, the Red Sox biggest sign in this trade deadline will be Alex Cora. He's giving them stability. He's going to give them another 3 years. There's no Blackjack Flaherty, no Blake Snell, whatever. That's not happening. So, again, I'm going to bring Riley in here in a second here, and we're going to talk tonight's action. Shout out to the ECSI VIPs with a 1-0 start. Nice little 7-2-2 run the last 11 games. And we sent out one game, and I love the board today, but there's a game that just... I woke up this morning, and I had to rub my eyes, clean my glasses. I was like, what? You're telling me what? So 3-1 is just like 1-0. So we're going for the 1-0 to start the week 2-0. So shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership. Of course, that's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It's free. Keep an eye on myself and Travis and the rest of the WagerWire team. They're still in Paris, still in the Olympics. Shout out to the women's rugby. They got a bronze today. If you didn't see how they got the bronze, go Google it. Go on to social media. Literally a walk-off 80-yard run for bronze there, so congratulations there. The women's gymnastic team gold, as we thought they would. So, and of course, shout out to Viva Tequila Seltzer, the new coconut flavor. CT Bets, the rest of that team, thank you for the partnership. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you whenever you get them. So without further ado, I gave Riley 6 minutes of rest time. Southside Riley himself. What's up, Chip?
What is up, my friend? I gotta hit the bike to get myself warmed back up over here. No, it's good stuff, my friend. Yeah, gearing up. 41 minutes until the trade deadline passes here. I've got the trade deadline show, or whatever you want to call it, on my phone here. If we get any, see if we can get any immediate breaking news here at some point during this show. But other than that, we obviously got plenty of games to talk about. Tonight's case, we had a boatload of runs on the board in a lot of games yesterday. A lot of runs scored in yesterday's game, so we had some good looks on some of those there. But other than that, yeah, you mentioned Olympics rolling along. I am excited for Thursday morning golf to get started. I think at the crack of dawn, if that on Thursday morning, might be about midnight, 2 a.m. The actual tee times there, but nonetheless, going to be a fun one there for those 4 days as well. So I am geared up and ready to go for this trade deadline, my friend.
Before I have you maybe pull up on your phone, I know there's a million trades already just today. If we just go through them, again, Padres just got Tanner Scott from the Marlins. They're juicing up their back end, but there's been a lot of small deals. The Red Sox got Lucas Sims, I think, from the Reds, I think, if that's correct. But I wanted to preface this. I had a quick phone call this morning with Mr. Brady Kannon. He'll be here tomorrow, 5 o'clock. We were talking some shop and some business, tea time wagers, of course, and Olympics. And you go back to 2020, Xander Schauffele wins the gold. And the reason I bring it up, he won the gold, and what was the big thing with Xander, even going back to 2020? A, he had never won a major. B, he couldn't close the deal anywhere. And winning that gold started to where we are today. The two betting favorites, Scotty Scheffler, I don't think he'll be in the orange jumpsuit, out in France. But my point is, one major, 5 other victories, $23 million, the leader going into the clubhouse, obviously, for the FedEx Cup. In comes defending champ Xander, 2-time major champ this year. He's won over $15 million this year, and he's in the talks, obviously, with Scotty for the player of the year. And my conversation with Brady, and I think this is a great angle here. Who can come out of the clouds and win the gold and salvage their season this year? And two names came to us, and again, I'm kind of sneak peeking what's going to transpire tomorrow. And I'll, before I give the two names that we talked about, I'm going to throw it over to you. Do you got two names that can salvage your season this year to win the gold?
I mean, if we're talking about guys who haven't lived up anywhere near to their expectations, I've got two guys right off the top. I have one guy off the top of my head. I was just looking at the odds to get one other guy that I was thinking of. I could think of a third that has been kind of circling the wagons a little bit, injury riddled that earlier in the season. But I mean, John Rahm being one of the names for me, who obviously has not been. A year or two ago, we were putting him in the same category near. Maybe not the dominance consistently that Scotty's had this year, but John Rahm, a guy that's last time we saw him at the Open, obviously a lot better than he had been in the majority of the season. So we still saw him. I actually have no idea. I typically don't check into the live scores too much until I'm trying to do some research. I didn't see what he did last week, but I saw him kind of raging again.
He won.
Did he win, actually? Did not. The only reason I was bringing him up in live was that I saw him raging again at some fans there. So, I mean, that relationship obviously is still going to be interesting to watch. But John Rahm, a guy that could really obviously change the course of his season if he wins this one. The other guy who we obviously still, just not a great season, was very good last year. We expect him to be back as Victor Hovland would be the other name that I have as far as salvaging the season there, because he obviously has had many disappointments. We had, I want to say it was Augusta. Maybe I'm wrong with that, and I'm mixing up a major there where he had the hockey deke back and forth on one of the holes on the back nine on Saturday or Sunday there. So or maybe that was Friday to miss the cut. It's escaping me at this point. And then the third that I was going to bring up, that I was going to say, you might not say he needs to salvage his season, but he's kind of circled the wagons a little bit. And I could see him, this would be the statement of his season would be Hideki Matsuyama, would be my third guy there. So I'm curious if I could bring up another name or two, but as far as salvaging their seasons, those are the three off the top of my head that I've got for you.
I hadn't received Brady's email yet. He said he had just sent it. So we were just having this conversation. And congrats, John Rahm was one of his selections. He bet him. He didn't have him pre-flop. He bet him after round one. I think he got 6-7 to 1 or whatever the price they got it. So, again, got off the schneid. Again, a guy that wants to forget about this year. And as I told him, I think as soon as the PGA and LIV kiss and make up, which we're assuming will be for next year, you're going to see a whole different John Rahm. So hats off to John Rahm. And listen, not poo-pooing Hovland. I like the thought process there. I'm not poo-pooing Matsuyama. But the other name that I brought up, he said he also had on his card, was a gentleman that came to the Masters not in form. And like Oberg, was right there on Sunday until he got to the 10th hole and dumped it into the drink. And then I want to say it was the PGA was also knocking on the door, or the U.S. Open, one of the two. I'm confusing them now, and then ran out of gas. And it kind of reminds me of Xander in 2020, where this guy would obviously salvage his season, was Colin Morikawa.
Oh, sure. And maybe I'm, and again, the guys that I said aren't necessarily the guys that I'm playing this weekend. I guess my idea of maybe our definitions of salvages this season, because Morikawa obviously has been good all season. He just doesn't have that statement or that big mark on it. So for what you're saying, absolutely 100%. I guess what I was saying is guys who have not been as good as nowhere near what we would expected. Not only do they not have any, big statement wins, they also just in a lot of cases just haven't been any good. So from my perspective, I was talking about just salvaging it from in a lot of cases what you might say a failure to actually potentially a successful season. So from that perspective, 100%, Colin Morikawa, this would be that big statement on his season, and when you mix it in all the high finishes that he's had, then you would say it was an awesome season for Colin if he could win this one here, or whether it be here or down the FedEx Cup. If he can do anything with that, that would obviously, to your point, save his season and actually make it a fantastic season from all accounts.
And Brady brought up the fact that the big three, I mean, how much motivation does Scotty have? Yes, I know, a gold medal. Trust me, I'm not taking anything away from it, but I think he's got 20+ million other reasons, no pun intended, where he's probably peaking to the FedEx Cup. It would be great can you imagine Xander, 2-time major champ this year, and defends his gold medal? Of course, that would be epic. But again, how much true does he have left in the tank? And thirdly, we talked about Rory here. Here's Rory, who we know should have won the U.S. Open. We know that. Takes a few weeks off, was hanging around the Scottish Open. He was in arm's length, ran out of gas, and then just nowhere to be found in the Open. And I think Rory's one of these where you'll know after the first round, where he's probably going to go after the sticks. He's going to come in guns a-blazing. If Rory goes out and shoots 64, 65, or however the course is playing, he's going to be around all day. If he goes out and shoots 74, 75, I think he's just tap city and get me to the FedEx Cup.
100%, and I mean, you usually are able to tell that with him. So I'm with you 100%. That one's going to be a one you can tell early. A guy that has played well all season long, that hasn't had as many wins as he would like as well, Tom Kim. I'm curious to see if he's still in form here. And then obviously the fourth guy in the United States team that has been nowhere near in form, and I thought maybe we were going to get a little turnaround as Wyndham Clark. He obviously needs this one to turn his season around quite a bit here. So I'm curious what else. I mean, we've got a lot of guys from a lot of nations that are obviously not really contenders here. Maybe we get a wild dark horse coming out of nowhere to win a medal or something like that. That would be cool, obviously. Minwoo Lee is the one guy that I think hasn't been quite as informed the last month or so as he was maybe, without looking at his result list. April, May, June was obviously playing really damn well. So I'm curious to see maybe someone like that can come out of the woodwork and put up a good fight here this weekend.
All right, today a lot of small moves. I mean, Tanner Scott, again, is a big move. Again, Jack Flaherty still out there. Your Crochet still out there. They kind of made it almost like where Crochet was going to get moved today and that Robert was going to stick and stay. Again, there's a handful of big names, and these guys are just holding on for dear life, trying to get the most that they can. The locals, before we went live, got all hot and bothered and horned up because the number 2 prospect for the Red Sox was scratched today. So they're like, oh, here comes the big move. Maybe Tyreek Skubal. Well, he hasn't played in 2 games, and it was just, no, he's not playing today. So give us some names that have been moved, some thoughts, and then as we got exactly 30 minutes till the deadline.
Yes, so as we were talking golf there, Pirates bringing in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa from the Blue Jays. So that is the most recent deal that we're talking about here. A lot of teams in that. I mean, we talked about it. We've obviously talked about the big names and who could be players in these big names. A lot of these teams that are playoff contenders have been making some moves here that aren't groundbreaking moves, but moves that they think are at least going to help them a little bit. And like this Pittsburgh move, obviously a team that would like to make a push at make the playoffs there. So bringing in someone like that. Kansas City's been active on some smaller moves. They bring in Paul DeJong from 100 feet away across the dugout there. White Sox and Royals playing each other, so that's a quick trip for him. And a guy off the bench. I mean, obviously not pinch hitting is not the same as it used to be and obviously it's AL anyways. But you know what I mean. Where I don't know what his role is going to be in Kansas City, but a guy that still had some power and hit quite a bit of home runs for the White Sox this year. Andrew Chafin to the Rangers. Rangers at least trying to do a little something there. We talked about Cleveland as not a big player for any big names. They bring in Alex Cobb, who obviously hasn't really pitched at all this season, but at least the report that I'm reading sounds like his progress could be decent here. And if Alex Cobb comes back for Cleveland and is pitching well at any point late in the season, that's a massive, I shouldn't say massive, but a really good addition to bolster a young rotation there that's been a little inconsistent there. And the other one, a guy that I've been waiting on kind of returning to what we saw from him 2-3 years ago. Trevor Rogers changed the scenery over to Baltimore, and they've got control over him for a few years here. So I'm interested to see if Trevor Rogers, who, like I said, 2-3 years ago, maybe it was 3-4 years ago now at this point, was really, really good. Young prospect, and now these last couple of years injuries and not so great with Miami. Curious if maybe he gets a little change of scenery boost in Baltimore there. Aside from that, I mean, there's still hasn't been that many today. I kind of expect, I don't know if we'll get a big one here today, but maybe a lot more small moves here. I guess the other one, Jorge Soler back to Atlanta is the other one. I think you could see I think we'll see Atlanta do something else and bring somebody else in to maybe not a massive move, but another guy that can help them down the stretch and make sure they get into the playoffs. And then, kind of a team that's obviously had some injuries, but still a team that if they get in and lock themselves into place, you never know what happens with Atlanta, a team like that.
It was funny too because their fan base on Twitter, they bring back Soler. And then I think they brought back Rosario, and someone said they just need Jock Peterson back. They're bringing the band back together, and that's when they made their run. But for my Giants here, again, they let Soler go, so I'm starting to scratch my head. They trade Alex Cobb, who, again, is still on the IL. Had a setback, just a blister now, getting ready to move, which leads us to the assumption is they're going to keep Snell in that rotation with Webb and Robbie Ray, so they'll be their big three there. I was going to ask you a question, and I just lost my train of thought here. I lost my train of thought. Any rumblings back home about the Crochet, or is this just going to be we're fielding all offers? And it was, that's what I was going to say was, again, after the deadline's over, then there's a handful of guys that are just put on waivers, their salary dumps, that we'll see who sifts through the garbage, probably the Red Sox again. But anything with the Crochet, just and Robert, we're just not going to move.
I don't think so. And I mean, you get Chris gets quote unquote expressing his disappointment in the whatever the tactics were as far as Crochet saying he wants the extension. So I don't know what to expect. If it's really a guy that's and I've talked about it with you, if it's really a guy where you're concerned about his usage going deep into the season as a starter after not going and we're keeping him, then we might as well come close to shutting him down for the rest of the way here at this point, or start really pulling back his innings and pitches going forward if you're really concerned about him there. So I think at this point, I think he probably would have been moved. And again, within 30 minutes of us sitting here, maybe I'll eat my words, but I do think he is staying put. I didn't see today, and I don't know, maybe they've taken him down now that some people might have some more information. Those odds that we were talking about yesterday, we were talking about some odds for guys who their next team is going to be after this trade deadline. Luis Robert was like minus 700 to stay in a White Sox uniform. So, kind of still expecting that. And I do think we've taken down these props here. Makes a lot of sense. So I don't think we're going to see any massive moves. I think the White Sox moved just about all of those guys that you would express as candidates to get dumped and flipped for something here. So I don't know that we have anything else in Chicagoland for any of these guys. Maybe one or two, a reliever or something like that. But other than that, maybe Gavin Sheets or something like that we haven't talked about that could get flipped or something like that. But I don't know. We might be donezo with the trade deadline here for the White Sox this next 30 minutes, my friend.
Local just put up about 10 minutes ago that Sox in talk with Sox for Crochet. They want us to take Benintendi back. So again, let's go back not too long ago. I talked about this. The Dodgers were serious. Crochet and Roberts, that's that Max and Trey Turner deal. Oh, and by the way, why don't you throw Kopech in there as well? And then, it ends up, Fetty gets moved, Kopech gets moved, and here's Robert. As we talked about yesterday, hey, it's a lost year. 15 in a row now. Royals put up a touchdown, 2-point conversion late. You're seeing a lot of this in baseball. We got a lot of people watching the show. Guys, if you're following baseball like we do, you're seeing a lot of big blow-ups and big innings now after the fifth inning, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Again, we're well over 100 games. It's the dog days of summer. August 1st is on Thursday. These bullpens are taxed. And once in a while, we'll call myself or Riley to the bullpen, and then next thing you know, it's whiplash, left, right. And I'm looking at the manager like, Coach, I ain't got it. And he looks at you, turns around. In other words, hey, you got to take this one for the team. So if I'm the White Sox and I'm not able to move Crochet, I pull him aside and say, hey, pal, bleep, 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 bleep. You're shut down for the rest of the year, but you're in the dugout every one of these games. Thanks, but no thanks. And, oh, by the way, we got this guy named Hagen Smith. Keep an eye on him because he's going to take your job in a couple of years.
Yeah. No, and I mean, in teams like that where they're obviously that far out of it, you're bringing guys up from the minors and seeing what they've got as far as the major league club is concerned. So, it's going to be rough. It is going to be rough. You lose Kopech, who obviously numbers-wise wasn't having a fantastic season, but was doing what he could with what he was dealt. Now you get him out of the bullpen. You move Fetty out of the rotation, and so you got to move somebody else into the starting rotation. So it from a pitching standpoint could continue to get uglier here. So I as far as the Crochet to the Red Sox, that wouldn't surprise me. I would hope, and they've got enough money with their payroll where they could, as bad of a contract as it is, they could just keep Benintendi. They just need to stockpile some assets. So I would be a little ticked off if they don't get as many prospects because they are throwing Benintendi into some deal for somebody.
And I'm going to tell you, Kopech's going to shine. I'll bring up two instances. Joe Kelly to the Dodgers. Boy, did he look good. Once you get to LA and have a little of that juice, you're a rock star. That's number one. Number two, when we traded Mookie Betts, and we were going to get, and I'm going to screw his name up, Brasosol, or he was throwing 101, 102, and the fact of the matter is that he was injured, and then no, our reports we can't have him, so they threw in Jeter Downs. Gee, thanks. And the fact of the matter is that the guy that 2 months later is throwing a $101, $102 for the Dodgers, and he's a Bridgie or closing the game. So again, they get to certain teams. It used to be the Cardinals when any pitcher went, and when the Cardinals wanted a pitcher and they brought him over, they turned into Cy whoever. So the Dodgers have been doing the same thing for a while now. So anyways, one game already in the docket. Gavin Williams and the Guardians, 5-0 over Detroit. Holton takes the loss. Guardians doing Guardian stuff. J-Ram yesterday, 2 homers. I don't know who did the damage today. Full slate tonight. The Big Maple, where I am right now, back in Boston to face a Castillo, which is one of the better games on the docket. But the stage is yours, my friend.
Yes, and I will pop open what we've got here. The one thing I forgot to mention as far as my White Sox update and rant is say your prayers. Yohan Moncada going to miss extended time due to anticipated soreness, is I believe the report there. So say your prayers for a I don't even know, a 27-year-old with anticipated soreness, Jeff. I know we're 50 games under 500, but usually the soreness comes and then you deal with it. Anticipated soreness when you're again, I don't even know, 27 years old is pretty bush league. So again, I'll drive across the country, whether it be back to you in Boston or somewhere else if it means I can get rid of him. That trade, the start of that rebuild, the Chris Sale trade, gets us Kopech and Yohan Moncada, and it is looking. And I agree with you. I think Kopech and a lot of these guys that were supposed to be corner pieces, whether they stick or stay somewhere else, they could find some success. So
what you were building, it was just a couple years ago, don't forget, you were in the playoffs and favored against the Astros, and you had game 1-1 and you blew it. You lost game 2 and you came home to a fired up stadium, and then the Astros just steamrolled you.
I know, and the year after that, the playoff year, they go 81-81, and I think that season broke me as a White Sox fan. I'm obviously a diehard still, but I've never been more frustrated in a single season team that year, and obviously all the blame doesn't go to Tony La Russa. I mean, Rick Hahn, who obviously did it, in my opinion, did a great job from obviously that Chris Sale trade doesn't look that great now, but you get a trade where you trade Jose Quintana for Dylan Cease and Eloy Jimenez, who Eloy is obviously not been great these last couple of years either, but that was, all things considered, a great trade, and make some other moves, and then just didn't capitalize it on after that. So I still stand by a lot of those moves that he made, but couldn't bring in that last piece, and obviously everything fizzled out. So anywho, 15-game losing streak for those White Sox. Not going to get in front of the train, my friend, but 23 is especially offloading some of these guys. Maybe you get a point where you get a lot of these young guys, and at some point here, whether it be against the Royals or I don't know who they have next, where you get a little ragtag group that can dig themselves out of this hole one of these days here. I do think that will happen, whether it's tonight or not. I'm not suggesting, but you got Michael Wacha for the Royals, who has actually been pretty steady for the most part these last couple of months for Kansas City. He has been a nice piece there for them. And then Jonathan Kannon for the White Sox. Nothing terrible, but nothing obviously to write home about. Has been giving up a few runs each time out. Hasn't really gotten completely blown up, but obviously not doing what he or not excelling in this White Sox rotation. But Royals minus 185 with an 8.5. Game total, maybe even down to 8, actually, I think it is, now that we're looking at it here. So I don't have anything to play out of this other than maybe another Bobby Witt 8 RBIs. I don't know. What about you?
Well, it's funny because one of our sites had the Kansas City team total 5.5 juiced under 137. The site that we use the most now moved them to 4.5 juiced over minus 140. So usually when this happens, I'm going to go on record here today that says Kansas City scores 4 or less today, which is going to be real hard, especially the last 5 innings. So I'm not telling you to run to the window and bet the Kansas City team total under. But the overnight number was 180. Wow. It's down to 176. It's at 8.5 right now at Circa and the Superbook. South Point's a 9. DraftKings is a 9. Bet Online, Bookmaker, and it are all 9s. So we don't step in front of trains. We don't. Again, if I wasn't invited to your wedding, don't expect me to be there at your funeral. But my point is here, just from numbers, pizza and beer, guys. This is a pizza and beer. I think the streak stops tonight. I really do. Just from a numbers sake. Pizza and beer, I'm going to take them plus the 160. If you want to get cute, take them in the first 5 and don't have to worry about the back end. I think you got an even matchup here, and Walker is hittable. How's that sound?
I am with you. I wish this would have been a little better timed 3-4 minutes ago, but speak of the devil, Eloy Jimenez on his way to Baltimore. I do not know what the full trade is, but Eloy Jimenez, who we did not talk much about at all as far as the trade deadline is concerned, is headed to Baltimore as of 1 minute ago.
Where was he? I saw him 3-4 weeks ago trying to round second base, and it looked like he was shot.
Yeah.
Where has he been playing for you?
He's been DHing a lot. I don't know what his splits have been as far as actually playing the field or just DHing, but I mean he DHs the majority of the time.
Please tell me where he's going to bat in that. I love Eloy. You know I do. I am one of his biggest fans. Where is he going to bat in this Baltimore lineup?
I don't know if he needs to go to the infirmary. I mean, he's played the outfield a couple games this year because he's obviously. I think he said I don't know within the last week he said publicly. To your point, he isn't running hard because he doesn't want to get himself hurt. And then Ozzie Guillen on the postgame says, "You're scared of doing what? Hitting 4 ground balls a game?" So,
all right, I'll go on record.
Yeah, go ahead.
We know Baltimore has such a plethora in the farm system, and again, it's almost like Danny Ainge, and they're hoarding these guys. They should have got Mason Miller 6 weeks ago. I'm going to go on record here with 14 minutes to go. They got him for insurance and is going to move someone in the starting lineup with some prospects for who's left? Scooble, Mason Miller, someone of that ilk. I could be totally wrong. We only got 14 minutes, but that's more of an insurance policy, like someone's going to get moved.
Yeah, and I mean, if they could figure out how to keep him healthy, that was always a guy where if he gets a change of scenery, I mean, he could be back to the expectations of being a 30-plus home run guy. So that is a little bit of and not an end of an era, because obviously it's been an ugly era the last 2-3 years, but that was a massive piece of the White Sox rebuild that we were talking about in those playoff runs. So that one, really changes the course of the future. Not really, but you know what I mean. Where it was, he was someone that I expected to be on the White Sox for a very long time a few years ago. So. That one is the only one that I'm seeing across my desk now, so we'll get back to the slate tonight. You've got those. Let's talk about the Orioles tonight. Corbin Burnes on the mound against the Blue Jays, and I believe it's Bassett for Toronto. Corbin Burnes coming off of, you and I have been talking about him, his starts a lot lately. He's obviously been winning these last couple starts, but going back to before the All-Star break, getting hit up a little bit last time out, 7 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. So obviously not getting shelled by any means, but not quite as sharp, not quite at that point at the moment right now. So we could see him get back to that potentially tonight. But Chris Bassett for the Blue Jays, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. He is obviously a guy that is a little inconsistent, but steady for the most part here. But Baltimore minus 215. Toronto, obviously, I don't have a lineup available to me right now. They are obviously a team that has been shelling out guys to the trade deadline, and maybe they're not done here in the next 15 minutes here. So don't have a lineup for them yet, but with Corbin Burns on the mound and all these guys out of town for Toronto, not sure what they've got. Do you think this is? I mean, a night like tonight where we're still waiting for maybe a few more trades is obviously hard to predict what's going to happen potentially here. But are you respecting that minus 215 for Baltimore, or would you like to see it higher with Burns on the mound and all these guys that are out of town?
No, I think you called it. I think it's a little light. I think overnight was 200. I think Vegas threw it out there to see where they could get some action. At the Circa, they got a little Toronto action. It's now 196. You can get the Jays at plus 177. I'm seeing it as high as minus 218. I would have liked it around 220, 230. I'd respect it more. If you like Baltimore tonight, there's only two things you can do. You can lay the half run in the first 5, and Bassett's that box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get. You could get Cy Bassett, or you could get the Bassett Hound, and you'll know real early here. But again, these Baltimore Orioles also, if memory serves me correct, coming off a doubleheader. These guys played 2 games yesterday. Yep. So slow starters. I'm gonna lean under in this game, and it's 8.5. I'm gonna take the under here. Wouldn't be shocked again to see a Toronto 4-3 here, but again, if you like the Orioles, first 5 minus the hook, or if you want to take the full swing, take them full game minus the 1.5. That's you can't go laying 200, 210, 220 tonight on the money line with the Orioles.
Right, and some of these teams, like you said, once you get through this trade deadline, a lot of pressure comes off of a lot of these guys, and play with a little bit more loose today. So, Yankees and Phils, another good matchup tonight. You've got Will Warren on the mound. That is a debut, major league debut for Will Warren, 25 years old. Up against Aaron Nola for the Phils. He is coming off 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 3 walks, and 6 Ks. These two teams, yesterday, Yankees win 14-4, put up a boatload of runs. They've got 4 days in a row putting up a ton of runs offensively, the Yankees here. Phillies cooling off this last week or so here. You've got the Phillies as minus 145, though, against a guy in Will Warren making his major league debut. Another one where would you, with Nola on the mound, would you like this one to be a bigger favorite spot for the Phillies, or obviously Yankees, good team in town? Maybe that's a fair price to you there.
Yeah, overnight minus 120, they threw it up there and says, here, come get it. And there is Philly money coming, looking for that bounce back again. The Phillies historically slow starters, great second halves. Well, they did the exact opposite. They bring in a closer with Estevez from the Angels. I don't know anything about Warren. Wheeler got jacked. Now again, Yankees travel team, ESPN game. Again, it's a short flight from Logan Airport to Philadelphia. But my point is, Judge Soto getting a little jazzed up with DJ Jazzy over there. 2 homers last night, so he's fitting right in using Judge's bat. If you like the Phillies, buyer beware. Again, first 5 minus the hook. I don't want to get in front of this Yankee train right now. Opening under over 8.5 juiced over, now up to a 10. That's a big correction there. Both team totals, Yankees 4.5 minus 110, and Phillies over 4.5 minus 135. So if you like the Phillies and you don't want to flip the coin on the outright win, take them to get to 5 or better. I think this has got that 5-4, 6-4, and I don't know who wins. How's that sound?
Yeah, kind of a toss-up there. So I will move it along here. We don't have too much more time. Don't see any new trades coming on down the pipe here. Cubs and Reds, we talked about this game yesterday. You had it spot on, expecting the Reds to put up some runs yesterday there. So very solid moves there. A bullpen game for the Reds here with Santillán on the mound, Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubs, guy that we talked about as a potential trade piece, but you and I agreed probably not on the move. Last time out, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. They've got their lineup posted. They've got Belly in the lineup right now. Paredes making his Cubs debut. And the Cubs are out here minus 130 on the road in Cincinnati. 9 on the total runs that I'm seeing here. Any thoughts on this one that the Cubs bounce back with Steele on the mound?
Steel or aluminum, that's always the motto here at ECSI. If you like the Cubs tonight, just take them first 5. I wouldn't worry about the back end. The Reds offensively is starting to put things together here. Bullpen game, you don't know what's going to happen here. Where is your edge? I think it's at the starting pitcher, obviously, but you'll know early. Is it Mr. Justin Steele or is it the aluminum can? Team totals, Cubs over 4.5, juice to the -130. Cincinnati 4.5, juiced under to the 140. So if you believe in the Reds and their offense, you can get their team total over 4.5 today, plus 120. If you want to scratch an itch there, do a little Ellie bomb or a stolen base. He's been on fire as well. So again, Cub fans, have no fear. Your belly's back in the lineup. He didn't get moved. He's only got 6 more minutes till he potentially could get moved. Otherwise, again, Cubs first 5 if you like the Cubs tonight.
Yeah, I like it. I still do think, again, I'm not saying this Cubs team makes a playoff push, but especially if they're not offloading a bunch of guys, I still think they've got some talent that they could string some wins together if they get their head on straight. Maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe it does. I don't know. Another one to talk about, Mariners and Red Sox. Red Sox, a boatload of runs yesterday. You've got Luis Castillo for the Mariners on the mound, and the return of James Paxton. Tonight he is pitching for the Red Sox, first time since last year. Obviously, he was in L.A. before the deadline. He has been fairly steady the last 3 times out. Nothing terrible, nothing crazy to write home about. Luis Castillo is kind of heating up a little bit here. I've got another breaking news, though. Bigger trade here. Blackjack Flaherty to the Dodgers, to the L.A. Dodgers.
The rich get richer.
Yep.
Rich get richer.
But as far as this one is concerned, Luis Castillo heating up a little bit here. Last time out, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs allowed against the Angels. Mariners -115. I saw a report that the wind is blowing out like crazy in Boston tonight, and the total went from 9.5 to 10.5. What are our thoughts on this one tonight, my friend?
Big Maple is back. If you follow me on Sports Grid on the weekends, he is the epiphany, I think that's the right word, the box of chocolates. You don't know what you're getting with Paxton. He was with us last year. Welcome back, the Big Maple here. ECSI VIPs know exactly where I am today. I woke up this morning and my eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. I waited this morning. I waited this afternoon for this thing to move. It didn't move. The total, as you said, opened up overnight, 9.5. Now 10 and 10.5 everywhere. As you said, Castillo has been pitching a lot better. I like Seattle first 5. I like Seattle to win the game. And let's just say I like Seattle to score at least a touchdown, maybe an extra point, maybe a 2-point conversion. How's that sound?
Yeah, the ball is going to be could be flying around tonight. So let's see, what else do we got here tonight? We've got Pirates and Astros. Yesterday, the Pirates win that one 5-3 on Paul Skeens Day. You've got Bailey Falter against Hunter Brown. Astros -200 at home. We taking the Astros bounce back train tonight?
Mark Zeno, Sports Grid, we were on Sunday night. I think he said if Skeens has had, I don't know how many starts Skeens has had. Do you know off the top of your head?
I can look at it real quick. I know it's been, actually I can probably get it real quick here. I want to say at least 15 or so. He's had 13 starts.
The Pirates, after a Skeens win, are OFA.
Really?
So they get all jacked up and lathered up, and they do everything in their power, even though when he leaves tied or down a run, they find ways to win. They're over the next day. So I like Houston minus the hook, the first 5. I like Houston run line tonight minus the 1.5. I will not lay the 200, guys. If you're playing some parlay pieces and you want to get jiggy with it, then you can put the Astros money line in it. But again, Houston first 5 minus the hook, and Houston full game minus the 1.5 is where, if you were individually playing tonight's game there.
Alrighty, and one more, and maybe we've got a little last couple more minutes trade news potentially here. Mad Max on the mound for Texas. Rangers are in St. Louis against Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn, pretty good the last 2 times out. Curious to see where he goes from there. Obviously, he still had some blow-ups. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs last time out for Lance Lynn. Mad Max, pretty good last time out, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. And you got the Rangers as the favorites on the road here. Are you buying the respect to the Rangers with Mad Max on the mound?
I would actually like a higher number. The ECSI VIPs last night, our one and done was the Rangers team total over 4.5. They got to 6. Overnight number tonight, max minus 125 down to 112. So I'm actually, even though the Rangers offense is heating up, it's Mad Max, and we know the Cardinals have seen him a bazillion times. Again, I don't know what you're going to get from Lance Lynn. He's one of these guys, you know very, very well how he pitches. He can be great or he can be awful. I actually trust the numbers. I like the Cardinals tonight in a bounce back, and you can also get their team total over 3.5. You got to spend a little juice on that. That's minus 35 cents. It's an 8.5. I think the Cardinals get to 4 or 5 today. I got them penciled for like that 5-2, 5-3 winner tonight.
Alrighty, my friend. Anything else? Trade deadline is winding down. Usually we get a couple, maybe a last minute. They usually give a few minute grace period to get the trade in, and then it takes a second to get to the newsbreakers there. So maybe we've got a few more trades. Anything else on tonight's slate before we move on?
I'll close with this one. A miracle win by the Diamondbacks last night. They came from nowhere. This is a team that seems to be rounding into form like last year in the back half. And I've been praising Fat of late. And Mr. Nelson had really been rounding into form, and we were fading his opponents with the team total overs. We've backed off. He's been pitching great, and if I remember correctly, he didn't have the greatest of starts. It's Patrick Corbin Day again. I'm not one of these guys that run to the window and bet against him, especially after such a big win. They're teasing you with the Arizona team total today, over 4.5, minus 135 with the flat 9 on the under over. I do like Arizona today. I do think it's a low-scoring game. I like Arizona first 5 minus the hook, really. That would be my play in this game. I look for them to continue to keep rolling. How's that sound?
Works for me, my friend. I don't have anything else to really drop down here. As far as closing thoughts are concerned, we'll see if we get any last-second news by the time we're on out of here. But Cardinals getting right-handed reliever Sean Armstrong for the Rays for Dylan Carlson. So a smaller move there, but a little bit of a swap there, Cardinals and Rays. Rays obviously offloaded a handful of guys here, and I'm sure in 2 more years we'll find some new prospects that they struck gold on and developed and turned into stars here. But my buddies and I were talking about it as far as they could have held on to some of these guys and pushed their chips back into next year. But obviously a team that likes to keep moving and keep going young. The Wander Franco situation really set them back in a lot of ways. And again, Rosarino wasn't fantastic this year, but in a lot of ways that really botched their entire this year through the next 3 to 5 years.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had a brain fart there. The Wander Franco set them way back, and that was their next coming. We do shows. Scotty's coming on in 13 minutes. He's a big Ray guy, obviously lives right down there, knows them inside and out, and he was the face. He was the next up-and-coming star. Hats off to the Rays. They've moved a lot of parts. They still get the Shane Bazes of the world, the Taj Bradleys. They got arms. They held on to Fairbanks, correct? They didn't move Fairbanks, and they didn't move Diaz, correct?
I believe you're correct. They also get Jeffrey Springs back tonight. We didn't mention in that set tonight, but they got Yandy Diaz. I don't remember what the other name you said, but they've still got some guys.
Fairbanks, the closer, they didn't move him, correct?
Oh yeah, no, I don't believe they. I don't think they moved Fairbanks. Again, there's a lot of moves going on, but still got Fairbanks.
Okay, so I'll close before I send it over to you for a homer prop, and I'll close with the homer prop myself. The squeaky butt play of the day, we know, all the ECSI VIP guys know, we fade Mr. Kannon from the Angels. It's just been a ticket we've cashed a bazillion times this year. Did not release it, okay? But it's the Rockies, okay? And when I say squeaky butt time, their team total is 4.5. It's not 3.5. It's 4.5. So Rockies got to score 5 or more tonight against Mr. Kannon and the Angels, and you get it at plus 120. So if you're looking for a late night scratch and itch, it's a 9:38 start. It's the fade Kannon play. So again, you're getting plus 120 for every dollar that you spend, and the Rockies got to get to 5 or better.
I like it, and I've got a nice one that I like here. To close things down with my home run prop, my friend, in that Cubs and Reds game, I will go with hitting third in the lineup tonight, Spencer Steer, 15 homers on the season, 5-12 lifetime against Justin Steele. He is plus 320 in Cincinnati tonight, and in the 3 spot there for the Reds.
All right, so I'm gonna have you dig into the Red Sox Seattle game.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to throw some names at you, and I'm just trying to think because I know they added a third piece who, okay. So here we go. What is Randy Arozarena?
285.
There's one. What is Cal Riley?
240.
There's 2. And the third one, I don't know if he's in the lineup. We're going to welcome him back to Boston. Is Justin Turner on that?
475.
All right, so he's probably not going to get it, but the other 2, Randy and Cal, those are go numbers, guys. So wink, wink. Cal Riley was plus what?
240.
And Randy?
285.
There you go. They're going to take the Big Maple down, hopefully in the first inning. How's that sound?
Yep, there you go. You had, I think for the Red Sox, the best number I'm seeing is obviously Devers, but it's 330.
Not quite a Devers go number.
No.
And they're throwing Castillo, which, yeah, lefty. Yeah. What about Duran?
Let's see. I backed out of it, but I want to say I saw at least 4-1, but let me double check there. Jaron Duran is 475.
Yoshida?
Yoshida 7-1.
We'll pass.
We'll pass on that one. I think so, yeah. But, yeah, I'll go Spencer Steer in Cincinnati. Let's see. Looking at that Cardinals game, Contreras 390, Corey Seager 330. So maybe a little fireworks there in St. Louis, but nothing too crazy there. But I'll stick with my Spencer Steer pick in Cincinnati.
All right, in 9 minutes, Scotty Webb in the batter's box will break down the MLB the only way he does with the analytics, sabermetrics. He's got more vowels than alphabet soup, and he's great. He's been getting a great following. Thank you guys for watching there. Keep your eyes open for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning as Travis Geiger, CXO of WagerWire, still in Paris for the games. We're going to try to do some live cuts from Paris like we did last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then it's Wednesday, so at 5 p.m., Brady Kannon will be back with Tea Time Wagers. We're going to talk Olympics, which me and Riley did a nice little job to start this show. And then on Thursday at 3 o'clock, UFC Fight Night Fortunes with Gam Lou. Go follow him if you're not at Gam Lou. Does a lot of work with VSiN Sports Grid as well. Talked to him as well today. He couldn't be happier to be on board with us. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Riley, hey, maybe Eloy left the building, but you still got Crochet and Robert for next year, so you got something to hold on to.
I guess I'll take it, my friend. I'll take 120 wins on top of it heading into next year as well.
Well, I'd call up Ozzie Guillen. Maybe that's what you need in the dugout. How's that?
I don't know about that, but I like him right where he's at. He's the man in the post game.
All right, people, stay tuned. Scotty's up in 7 minutes. See you soon.